not a marathon. The quickest speech of introduction you have ever had. Welcome to Alliance. We'll have a fantastic evening, a discussion. Then after we have a cocktail, you are all invited to a free cocktail after. Then after we have the opening of the ceremony in Paris. Let's do it. It will be fantastic. The moderator will invite the panelists to be strong and efficient. You will have also the floor for some questions. I'm sure it will be fascinating because this question is very, very interesting for us all. Last thing, tell all your friends who are blocking the traffic, join us in the YouTube channel of Alliance Française. From now on, it is live. It's now on, so you can invite your friends wherever they are on the planet, even in Paris, to follow us now live. And now, please introduce the moderator of this evening, a colleague from Sciences Po. That's it? Okay, Brendan. It's not Brendan.
So, thank you, Charles. As Charles said, we're going to be it's going to be like a sports session, so we have to be very active, we have to be on time. And I have with me my winning team, my 4x400 mixed relay team that I'm going to introduce today. So first we have Dr. Doreen Odhiambo from Kenya Academy of Sports. So I'll invite you to the stage, please. And then we have Julian Di Maria from Ikaika Sports. We have Cynthia Mumbo from Sports Connect Africa. And to finish the race, we have Brian Wesala from Football Foundation Africa. Kindly join us on stage. Yeah, so the idea is to make it very interactive. I'll ask them some questions. You'll also get to ask them one or two questions. As you can see here, we have a representation of all types of sports. And to the young people in the crowd, don't be fooled. These are very sportive. These guys are very active in sports. Brian in football, let me not get to it. Doreen, hockey. Cynthia, basketball. And finally, Julian, athletics. So for those of you who are interested in each of these sports, you can be able to talk with them directly after this talk. And also during this session, you can be able to ask them a few questions. So I'll just jump right into it. First question to Dr. Doreen. So as a representative of the government and being part of the public sector, what would you say are some of the programs that are being run, not only by Kenya Academy of Sports, by the government in general, to be able to support the sports ecosystem and the youth? Thank you, the floor is yours.
Okay, good evening. Thank you very much for inviting me to this event. Yeah, as you've heard, my name is Doreen Odhiambo. I am the CEO of the Kenya Academy of Sports. So the Kenya Academy of Sports is mandated with the identification of talent, development, and monetizing of sports talent. So some of the programs that are being done by Kenya Academy of Sports is the capacity building of sports technical personnel. We work together with the Ministry of Education in capacity building the PE teachers in various sports disciplines. We work together with the federations to capacity build them so that they can also train the players in the schools. We also organize holiday sports camps. During the school holidays, like for example, because of the busy schedule of the schools, we deal with under 18, under 19. These are still school-going children in schools. So they don't have time for both education and academics and sports at the same time. So what we do is during the school holidays, we organize for holiday camps where they come and train in various sports disciplines. We also have a strategic program called the Talanta Hela program. Last year, what we did in the pilot stage, we dealt with football, where we had a grassroots tournament for under 19 school-going children, although some of them were also out of school. And in the tournament, they were participating as counties. So we started at the county level, where they participated up to the national level. Then at the national level, we scouted the most talented athletes, where we had, after the tournament, we had an elite program where the best players were trained further, and we also organized for exchange program where they went to Spain to train there for competition, for tournament, and training also. And the success of that tournament is where we managed to get the under 15, under 17, and under 19 for both girls and boys team. And as you are aware, the team that's now going to represent Kenya in the under 17 team, it's from the ministry.
Thank you, Dr. Lorraine.
At the World Cup in Dominican Republic, that will be from 16th October. So we have various programs also. And the school games, it's also the Ministry of Sports working with the Ministry of Education, and where the Ministry of Sports gives the Ministry of Education around 300 million to ensure that the school championship from the zonal level up to the East African school games, and talents are also scouted during that time. We'll be establishing sports academies. The pilot ones will be 25 across the country. And we'll also be working with some of the schools that are also excelling in sports, where some of these, if we get a good footballer, and we know that Kakamega High School is a school where football does very well, they are taken there. If there's hockey, we look for a school where hockey performs very well in hockey, then they are taken there. So those are some of the programs that we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you. So as you can see, I know most of you would ask questions on Talanta Hela. So I'd like you to hold back on that. But I know that Dr. Doreen, you're going to have some questions on that for sure. Given the investment you're doing for athletes in ETN and your other activities in the region, kindly take the floor.
Thank you, Brandon. Good evening, everyone. My name is Julian Di Maria. I'm a French citizen living in Kenya, and I'm a sports agent. So basically, I manage the career of top athletes from the young age, from 16 years to 30 and above, professional athletes, mainly Kenyan athletes. So I'm amazed by your program, Doreen, Talanta Ela, and the CAS, and the work you are doing on the ground with the schools and everybody involved in the ecosystem, the sports ecosystem. So basically us, we are just on the professional side. So we take over and we work together with the government, the public sector, and other private sector. So we are the linked to reach professional level for athletes, specifically for our company. And we have colleagues dealing with other sports such as football, cycling, and I know basketball with the NBA coming in Kenya. Brandon, to reply to your question, what is important for the private sector in a country like Kenya is to invest in talent and guide people. Investing on talent means that we have to find the right sponsor for the right field and the right athletes. So it means that we need to inquire from school level to sometimes university, and mostly in region that's specified in the sports we want to develop. So for us in athletics, we are mainly in the Rift Valley, in the North Rift with Eldoret and South Rift with Kericho, but we are also everywhere in Kenya. Don't think that athletics, it's only for Kalenjin people. We have every tribe represented. For example, at the Olympics, we will have Alexander Mutiso that we represent. He's a combat training in Machakos. So what we do when we identify talent in a particular school or in a particular program like No Talanta Ela, we go to the teacher, we go to the coaches and the administration around there, and we try to develop that ecosystem to be professional. What it means to be professional is to have a physio, to have a coach, that has a certificate, to have a therapist, mental health support, massage, and so on and so forth. So we need to invest in these talents, but also in the whole ecosystem that is around those talents. And that's where it's very crucial and important, because if we leave only the investment in the athlete, there is no development. We will not reach the potential of that person. As much as athletics is an individual sport, it needs a village to create those champions that you see on TV and that you are going to see as from tonight in Paris with the Kenya team and many other professional teams. So I would say the importance of the private sector is to invest in an ecosystem rather than in individuals. So I think my point is clear. And then the second thing is to work together with institutions in place. So for example, for us, we have the Kenyan government and we have the federations. So we try to work hand in hand with those entities. Sometimes it's not easy because of different background and the way things are done here and the way we want to do things. So we have to argue, but arguing is a positive thing. That's what I can say about the private sector in Kenya. Yeah.
Thank you, Julian. So you've had two views from the government side, the public sector. You've had Julian present views from the private sector. And the key thing that they've both mentioned is the need for collaboration. So as we speak about collaboration, I'll invite Cynthia and Brian to answer the next question on sports marketing. So what are some of the challenges that you've seen and what are the opportunities and how can different stakeholders collaborate, both from your experience and what you'd advise the ecosystem players?
Bonsoir. No, don't worry, I'm not going to speak in French. My name is Cynthia Mumbo. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. I'm glad to see a lot of young people in the audience, and I'm very excited to talk about this space that there's always a question about what in the sports space. So when you look at sports marketing, I usually am very interactive, so I'm going to ask, how many of you know any sports brands? Sports brands? Any Kenyan sports brands? Which one? Enda. I thought that would be the first one, so fantastic. I think they've done a great job. There's a lot happening in the space, and beyond just marketing, there's commercialization. And as he said, there's a big opportunity around investing in the ecosystem. So before you market, you have to be able to create a product. One of the challenges that we have locally is we consume international product. How many of you, by a show of hands, have gone to a KPL game this year? How many of you have gone to a KPL? Just be proud, please, guys. Raise your hand. It's a good thing. How many of you have gone to a KPL game this year? How many of you have gone to a basketball game this year? Doc, we're doing well. Kenya Basketball Federation is not doing badly. So how many of you have gone for the athletics championship? How many of you went? So from a marketing perspective, I mean, I've done our research. You can tell we're not doing well. How many of you have watched the English Premier League the last season? How many of you have watched the NBA the last season? If I went and asked why, it's because you know about it. And the likelihood is you're probably not going to have a good experience at the local level, but you feel that you are connected and attached to the international brand. So we still have a lot of work to do, but I feel that we are moving in the right direction when we have conversations like the one that we are having today, to be able to look at the different aspects of sports business, sports commercialization, and saying, from a local perspective, what are we able to do? I'm really glad I can say I am a beneficiary of the Talanta Hela program as a business, because we were the ones who managed the event management for that program. And because a lot of people don't understand, they say, hey, Talanta Hela, what is it? But have you heard how powerful that project is? Right? It's a very powerful project. From a commercialization perspective, a business like ours, which is a commercial entity, was part of bringing Talanta Hela to life. So there's so much around the commercial and marketing ecosystem. There's opportunities for young people to, sit and see where can I get into. How many of you follow Omanyala? How many of you have seen Omanyala's page today or yesterday? What did you see? His partnership with Air France. Any of you see that? Say? You saw his work with Toyota, right? CFAO. Who does his marketing? Who does his digital work? Has it ever occurred to you that it could be any of you who are really probably good at digital marketing? So there's a lot within the ecosystem. It's not a one-way street. There's a lot when it comes to commercialization and marketing of the sport, and there's definitely a lot of opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. Over to you, Brian. Same question, sports marketing in the region, and so based on your activities at Football Foundation Africa, and also what you've seen in terms of collaboration, how is it evolving?
Thank you very much, Brandon, and also thank you to Cienspo and your partners for this session. It's an honor to be here. My name is Brian Wesala. I'm the founder and CEO of the Football Foundation for Africa. I've run FFA for the last 5 years or so, and my idea, just to link it to your question, was to see how do we get more resources, how do we unlock more resources, especially to support grassroots football across Africa, because I realize there's a big gap, and as my co-panelists have said, a lot of what we are looking for or what we are trying to get into the industry is usually positioned to impact the elite sports. So those that are known, and that's where the branding comes in. That's why you see the commercialization happening. But when I looked especially at the football space, where we have such a rich grassroots football ecosystem, my question was, how do we get even these private sector players to invest in this space? And that means what kind of business models or what value proposition can we offer, especially to the private sector, so that they can bring in money at the grassroots level. And I think this is really important, because in sports there are two primary investors. One is the government, and secondly is the private sector. And for a long time, we have seen, especially in Africa, in terms of austerity, the first industry that usually suffers is sports. And you've seen, for example, in Kenya, see, most of you are young, probably you don't know about the social halls or the pitches you used to have growing up, which were supported by the government. But in the 90s and 2000, a lot of these was withdrawn to be invested in other sectors. The same has happened with the private sector. The Kenya Premier League that Cynthia talks about, there was a lot of corporate involvement in the 80s and the 90s. But over time, because usually with budget constraint and these things, again, the axe usually falls on the sports sector. So it's up to us, and I'm glad there are so many young people here, so many, I like to see young people interested in this space, because I think you have that innovative and entrepreneurial approach to things that you can bring into the sports industry, where we also have a lack of the required number of professionals to manage the game, and engage private sector government in terms of changing how we view sports and how we can use it as a platform for marketing and getting more resources into the industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. So before I move to the next question, I'm going to expose people's ages in here. Joginda, does that name ring a bell to any of you? If Joginda rings a bell to any of you, can you lift up your hands? Robert, Robert, lift up your hand. Joginda. Kadenge Nampira. Kadenge Nampira, anyone? Okay, and then now we come back to more Conjestina, I think Conje. That one now is, we can see the Gen Zs in the room. And so Oliech, I mean, Dennis the Menace. Come on, guys, Dennis the Menace. Wow. Okay, well, as we move to the next question, so I don't know how many of you here are still students, but I can see from the numbers we have here, you're not a student. As I can see from the numbers we have quite a young population, which was actually the focus of this next question. To all the panelists, how would you say sports has evolved as a viable career option to the young people? Because even when you look at our universities, very few universities offer sports-based courses. And for those who have to study them, even when it comes to the opportunities in the market, I think we can all see that we are not at the level where Europe is, where South America is. We might have our Ligindogos, our events here and there, but a lot still has to evolve in the space. So this question will be directed to all of you. I'll start with Brian. How would you say sports has evolved as a viable career option? And would you today say that this is something that should be pursued actively as we see in Europe and the other demographics, for example?
Yes, I think sports is a viable career option for young people, and not just in playing, especially when it comes to Africa. For a long time, our focus has been on developing sporting talent, but we are not developing the management or the managerial science of sports where more young people can be absorbed. And I'll get a bit political and in this regard, because this is Sion's sport and it's usually political and psychology. This is because of the structures within which sports operate, and this is globally. You know, we are used to a model where the international federations or the Olympics, they're the ones who do the business, and then they support the development of sports in Africa through what they call grant funding annual. So our federations and those who are mandated to run sports in our countries are rarely thinking in an entrepreneurial manner. So this needs to change. We need to reimagine the governance structures of sports globally so that we come up with systems that work for Africa. And this is the only way we can unlock more opportunities for young people to venture into. The other thing I will insist on is when we look at sports, we also need to look at sports as an education. So that as you're pursuing a sports career, even as you're trying to do it to the elite or professional level, you always maintain the educational path. And I think these are people who are going to be powerful in terms of transforming the sports ecosystem in Africa. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you, Brian. Over to Doreen. I think the focus is going to be heavily on you because you run a youth program to support the talent. So how would you say things have evolved, and what are some of the focus areas you have as Kenya Academy of Sports, to be specific?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, sports has positively evolved compared to the times when we were in school, during some of our times. Like now we can see that during my time in school, there was there was only Kenyatta University offering sports courses. But now, and it was just doing PE, and that PE could be done, could be accompanied with another lesson like PE and history. So, and most of the people who are studying PE would go to school will be teachers going to school to teach PE. But right now we can see that the universities have increased. We have Nairobi University, Kenyatta University, Masinde Muliro, Masai Mara University, all these offering their courses. And not just PE, they are offering courses in sports management, sports sciences, and all that. We also have this university offering sports scholarships for people who are interested in studying sports or people who are talented in sports. So I can say that it's really, it's been positive. Then, like for example, what I want to tell maybe the young ones here, we have people who are talented in sports, and there are also people who are academically gifted. For those of you who have both, who are talented in sports and also academically, if you could just do your bachelor's and maybe go for master's and specialize. We don't have sports lawyers. We don't have sports engineers. When we develop our stadiums, we always find that there's something wrong. So if we get sports engineers, we have a problem with sports doctors. There's a lot of career in sports. Right now we have so many people injuries in sports, and we don't have sports doctors to do that. There's a whole career in sports. Kenya Academy of Sports will be holding a career fair next year, early next year, and we invite you to come and come to the fair. We also have various partnership with various universities across the globe who we can work with and offer you scholarships if you want to go and major in sports. We in sports also, we have now the government looking for sports officials. We have schools now, CBC program, where now there's a career pathway in sports. So you can see that there's a lot of interest in sports. The county governments, for them to promote sports and develop it from the grassroots area, they need sports people. So I'd encourage you all to venture in sports. There's still a lot of opportunities in sports. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Doreen. And on to Cynthia. Same question. How have you seen sports evolve? You've been in the business for 15 years, professionally, without counting your participation in sports. So how have you seen that evolution from the time when you were an active participant to right now as you're running a business in sports?
So, thanks, Brandon. I run a sports commercial entity. We have very few. And it's a very interesting, space. So over time, I think we were amongst the first to register, registered Sports Connect Africa in 2012 and got fully-fledged. We started working fully in 2016. So within our organization, we have a sports operations department or platform where when the NBA was here running junior NBA in 2016, 2017, 2018, we were able to understand the model of what the NBA would like. Doreen is here as Kenya Academy of Sports. When they are looking to do Talanta Hela and there's the event, you have the president coming and you want to create an amazing experience. You want to be able to mobilize fans and students and all of that to be able to come. We have experts who, are good at that. So beyond just, management, there's so much opportunity for young people. Whichever background you have, there's a space for you in sports. If it's medicine, if it's arts, there's always an opportunity for you in sports. I think the opportunity that we have, and maybe I'll talk about it from a challenge perspective and the opportunity, is how do we fashion, with what Brian has said, how do we create a policy that supports sports business and commercialization and, creating these opportunities? I know that Nigeria is moving part of their sports policy into the commercial business policy. So there's so much. There's commercial, there's technical, there's development, there's infrastructure, it is endless. I'm an architect, for example. I know Kenya Academy of Sports is looking, she's just talked about building 25 academies at the grassroots level. They sent out a tender notice the other day. I don't know how many of you must have seen it. If you didn't, look for me. I'll send it to you on WhatsApp. You might have the background. So there's definitely an opportunity. I think what is also lacking that we might need to work on beyond the policy is information and information sharing. Probably create a platform where there's more information about sports and the opportunities for sports. I'm hoping that we will be working with Dr. Doreen with regards to the Sports Career Fair. It's something that I've been very passionate about over the last few years, to be able to sit in a room, bring all those guys within our networks from the international space, local and international, to be able to give the young people in this country and in this continent an opportunity to say, look, this is my background, and this is somebody with that background, but working in sports, and I can be able to fashion that. But critically, we must have a policy. We do have the Sports Act, which is great, but I believe acts are always reviewed and made better. So what within that space is lacking from an opportunity perspective for the young people? Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. And finally, to Julian, you support athletes, and most of our Kenyan athletes are a bit on the lower, are very youthful people. So I don't know how you're seeing the interest or the uptick in supporting athletes, in managing athletes in the country and in the region in general from your experiences.
Yeah, thank you, Brandon. First, I want to come back on what Doreen is saying because it's very important. Sports is the future and it's diverse. If not for sports, none of us would be talking to you here today. If not for sports, there would not be the biggest event, a sports event launched in the world today, which is the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. What we need to touch is to touch you because there is sport in each and every one of us. I'm convinced of that. Whether we like it or not, there is something. Sports is not only sports woman and sports person. There is job. As they said, there is opportunities. We need managers, we need doctors, we need physios, we need mental professional, we need logistic, we need transport for sports. It's a full ecosystem. Sports is a global village. What we need to do is to inform you, share the information and guide you. And then the ball is on your side. You need to ask questions. You need, after this conference, you need to come and ask my number, my email, their contacts. We share information. I'm not saying that you will get an opportunity immediately, but you will get at least an information and you will be connected. You need a network. There is future. There is something especially for Kenya. This country is young. Whatever has happened, and it's still happening. And we have so many professionals here that want to help this generation, this country, and these people with sports. Sports is beautiful, and sports people are beautiful. So take the opportunity. Don't fear. Come to us. We will share our experience. We'll share contacts, and we will guide you. As Doreen said, there are opportunities also with the government. The Kenya Academy of Sports is also recruiting. They are going to launch academies. They are looking for people. You can find a way. I have many young people who come to me and say, what can I get from sports? You know, like immediately they want to know what's the benefit. It's fair because now you are very exposed. You have a lot of information in social media, in the press, but sometimes there is too much information. Today you have professionals here that know what they have been doing. Some of them, they have been sports people even sometimes back. So take the opportunity that is in front of you, ask your question, take the risk and the confidence to ask, because there is 100% chance that you miss a shot that you don't take. You understand that concept? If you don't take the risk to go to people in any sector and in life in general, you will not get what you might want to do, or you might miss what you might become. So please don't fear, come to us, we will guide you, we'll help you, we'll talk, and maybe one day you can be a champion like running in the Olympics, or you can be the best sports manager, or you can be the best sports company, or you can be the best in your field. And even if you are not the best, you will have the best chance that you gave yourself the opportunity to try to succeed. Because we see success as an end in our society, but it's not the end. How many times have I failed with my athletes? How many of my athletes are not going to Olympics? This year we have 6 people representing Kenya in our company going to the Olympics. I manage about 90 of them. Means out of 96 are going. 84 are watching the Olympics at home. But it's not a failure. They are also successful. They gave their best this year, and they will be motivated for next year. So please have that in mind. Be curious, interact with professional people, and be guided in a proper way. You have a chance tonight, take it. Thank you.
Thank you. So you're getting some life lessons as well from him. So as you heard, you can always approach, at the end of this, make sure you speak to each and every one of them. As you can see, the focus is not only just on the professionals, but also on budding talents. So don't feel like you have to be held back because you're only starting out. You have the right people here on board. To the next question. So when you talk about sports in the region, most people think about athletics, football, rugby, because these are the sports where we excel the most in. But there's been investments in the region, and Cynthia hinted at this. For example, the NBA Africa coming into the region. Now they have an office in Nairobi. Competitions are held in Kigali annually. So I don't know, to all the panelists, what you would say about other sports picking up. Is this something that we are seeing? Is there a change in the dynamics, or are we still going to be strong or only known in football, athletics, rugby, because this is where all the investment is being put in? What are your takes on this, Brian?
I think it's just being smart about it, and also being very open-minded. For me, I'm very focused on football. That's my passion. That's the game I played. But also, I am aware of the risk of being too narrow-minded in the way I think as a footballer, and now as a football entrepreneur or a football manager. And that's why I'm always very open to engaging colleagues from other sports, from other industries, so that we have a more innovative approach. But still, if the sports ecosystem is to work, we have to identify what we are strong in and see how we can sustainably commercialize that and use that to support the growing sports. And you see this in a country like India, where they realize their strength is in cricket, and now they have created a very big cricket offering. It's called the ISP or something. It's turning hundreds of millions of dollars, and with that, they're able to support the growth of games like Kabaddi, which we now see even in our own countries. So we have to be smart. We have to be strategic in terms of how we invest in sports. And as you say, the sports ecosystem is huge. Let's grow the whole, and not just focus on what we are strong in.
Thank you, Brian. To Dr. Doreen, are you seeing interest in other sports, or is it just the traditional football, athletics, from your talent sourcing programs?
Okay, thank you, Brian. Okay, for all of you to know is that Kenya Academy of Sports was established to ensure that we diversify in sports. We've been dependent on athletics, volleyball, and around 3 sports. Right now, the Kenya Academy of Sports was established to ensure that every talented athlete in any kind of sports gets an opportunity to develop his talent in whatever sport that the person is interested in. So that is what we are doing. The government of Kenya, like for example, us establishing sports academies across the country, it is for that sake. And we're currently doing a talent mapping survey across the country to find out, like for example, in Turkana, what talents are available there. And when we establish an academy there, we'll make sure that the academy will not just be for one sport, at least a minimum of 4 sports. And the main one would be obviously be football that is played throughout the country. So as a government, we are ensuring that at least any kind of sports that is, where somebody has a talent, we know that there are people who are not talented academically, but they can get a career in sports. And that is why we're going to ensure that talents are developed. We might not develop all sports. There are so many sports registered with the Kenya National Sports Council. We might not develop all sports, but we are going to try our best to ensure that most of the sports are developed. Thank you.
Thank you. And on to Cynthia. Are you seeing young people being interested in non-traditional sports?
Well, I'm glad my sport is being focused on. So any of you think you can dunk, now is your time. Well, something interesting happened not too long ago. The NFL is also really focused on the continent. And it's an interesting conversation because of some of the work that we do. We deal with a lot of the international, whether it's teams, whether it's federations, whether it's investors. There's a big conversation around Africa and where Africa is going to be in the next few years. I think we've seen what's happening in the country now. The young people are saying we want our voices to be heard. And we want our voices to be heard in all the things that, we are doing. So the interest is there. I'm going to go with what Doc has said and what Brian has said. What is our strength? Yes, we have athletics. We have football. We can see, something is happening with basketball. How many of you watched the South Sudan-US game? How many of you know that we beat South Sudan 4 years ago? At Nyayo Stadium. Those two come from basketball. I know them very well. And that one. And that one. No, she's a journalist. But guys, Kenya beat South Sudan. And so now everybody is waking up to, hey, there's something in Africa. You had the misconception that so many of these, international stars had around Africa. But there's that conversation. Kabaddi is a sport that I didn't know about, honestly, 3 years ago. Not many of you know, but Kenya Academy of Sports is actually the home of Kabaddi. And now they are playing at par with India, which is, the international home of Kabaddi. So there's a lot of opportunity, but I'll go with what both Doc has said. Let's invest on what is strong for us, but also have an ear for what is coming, because if you look at what the NBA has done, not many of you will know that the NBA set up in Africa, in Johannesburg, 12 years ago. And what they started with was junior NBA programs. I think now they have about 45 or going to 50 junior NBA programs. What we are seeing now is that they're launching basketball courts across the continent. The first one in Kenya was launched at the Kenya Academy of Sports. So there's a lot of interest for, the more of the traditional sports. And basketball is actually the second highest participated sport in the country after football. As much as there's athletics, which is, in a certain region, there's a lot going on. Again, let's focus, build what we're really good at, as we look at what other areas we have for investment in sports.
Thank you. And finally to Julian, I know the focus is currently on athletics, but how is this evolving in terms of athlete management? Are we seeing more and more sports being incorporated, or is this something that's slowly picking up according to your...
Okay, first, I want to say that diversity is an advantage for a country, because the more sports you can have, the more opportunity you give to your people, starting by young people, but your people in general. In athletics, of course, in Kenya, athletes are putting Kenya on the map of sports. We have some fields that are not developed, like field events and like long jump, high jump, shot put, and even sprinting. Like Omanyala was just the other day one of the very fast top sprinter in the world, and he's from Kenya. So I think it's our duty as sports ambassador and private sector to go and look for this raw talent in diverse areas. Like for example, in 2024, like today, to find raw talents, we have to go more and more deep in the villages. We go in rural areas. We go to, for those who are from Elgeyo Marakwet, we have to go past Kondabilet. We have to go past Barwesa. In Baringo, we have to go to some villages that talent is there, but we need to look for it. So we need to have a network of professionals that share the information and go for that diversity. In athletics, what I can say is that talent is there, but it's reducing more and more because of industrialization and the modern life, okay? Now more and more of our young people are on the phone all the time. It's difficult to go through pain more and more. I see it in my own house. I have some young in-laws that it's difficult for them to get motivated by the pain you have to go through to be successful in sports, which is not a problem. We have to adapt as a society. But I think it's our duty not to let that heritage go and look for diversity. So I encourage my colleague to, yes, to focus on what is working well and what is good, but don't give up on what we don't know.
Thank you for that conclusion. So we're just going to go to the audience questions. Anyone has a question?
Hello. My name is Vanessa Ngunjiri. And I have two questions to Dr. Doreen and to Cynthia. So first of all, to Dr. Doreen, I think we are, for the first time in 128 years that the Olympics has existed, it's the first time where we're going to have equal representation for men and women at the Olympics. However, there still exists, I think that's something worth clapping, like we've made that much progress, albeit a bit late. So that's good. But on the other hand, we still experience gender disparities in terms of payment. So to Dr. Doreen, what are you doing, or as the Kenya Academy of Sports, what are you putting in place to ensure that, to sort of reduce that gap in your capacity even at the level of mentorship and training, even before you send these athletes out there? And to Cynthia, we're still seeing endorsements and partnerships for female athletes still way lesser, and here it's a problem in Kenya. So what are you taking any measures, or what recommendations are you putting in place, or would you have, to ensure that our female athletes also get these endorsements and partnerships as much as the male athletes do? Thank you.
Wow.
Okay, thank you for your question. So at the Kenya Academy of Sports, whenever we do any program competitions that we reward the winners, we pay equally. Like during the Talanta Hela sports tournament, which was football, the number one girls team was given 5 million. The number one boys team was also given 5 million. So any event that we do, we give equal pay. We don't believe in the men being better than the women. So we give equal pay. Then on the terms of training of technical personnel, we try as much as possible to ensure that we have, at least a number of ladies. We have a problem on on females going for those coaching courses, and we try to encourage them. But whenever we go to regions, when we want to do a coaching course, if the class does not have up to 30% of women, then we don't give courses. We try as much as possible, but this is also a problem to the women also. They should also come up and, when you offer those courses, we give them for free. So if you are being offered a course for free, we are ready to give 50-50, the ladies should also come up. Thank you.
And to Cynthia on the endorsements and partnerships.
That's a good question. I noticed that it's 50-50. Did you guys notice that on the panel?
I started by introducing my 4x400 mixed relay, and I don't know if most of you got what I meant by that.
4x400 mixed relays. Let's give an applause to Brandon. I think he did a good job. That was very deliberate. I noticed that. Thank you. The challenge is, in our space, there's always this thing about women's sport is not watched. Or, guys don't come to watch women's sports. But the truth is, we're not giving women's sports the platform to be seen, right? From a marketer's perspective, I will be brutal. Painful. It is painful. When I'm sitting with my MD or as a CEO or, sitting with as a marketing director, there's always the conversation of, what's the value proposition? How many eyeballs are on this? Is there value around this? Will I be able to get a return on investment if I invest behind this? So at the bottom line, women's sport is not being broadcast. It's not being shown. So you cannot sell and you cannot support what is not being seen. That is the biggest problem that we have. But if we look at what's been happening with football at the global level, all of a sudden, it sounds like all of a sudden, but those of us who are behind the scenes know that it's not an all of a sudden conversation. Football games in Europe are now getting full. The football game that Kenya had against, it was Rwanda, for the women, Burundi, sorry, the stadium was full. Why? Because we were talking about it. So if we do not talk if we do not share information, if our women are not at the forefront in terms of the conversation of sports, the guy who owns the money will always have an excuse to put it behind the men. And men have always taken advantage of that. Oh, nobody watches women's sports. As Sports Connect Africa, we're partnering with MTG, which is moving the goalposts in Kilifi. It is a football program that supports girls and the community in Kilifi, and they have an amazing, amazing story. They're actually one of the first organizations in Africa to be awarded globally because of what they're doing for women and for girls through football. We're launching a program called She Drives Sports in October, where our focus will be in supporting girls, rather women who are getting into leadership. I can tell you, as somebody who ran for president of the Basketball Federation 3 going into 4 years ago, I discovered I'm a woman because I was running. Honestly, I have brothers only, so I always used to be, easy. But that experience made me realize that we must be able to stand for more women. We must be able to be bringing more women into the leadership space. Doreen can tell you it is extremely tough being a woman in a 90%, run-led space. So we are being very strategic. We are being very intentional about being able to support women at the leadership level, bringing equity in the leadership level, because that equity will then be able to push diversity across the board. Thank you.
I hope you've been satisfied by the answers. Brian, just in 1 minute, if you can summarize.
No, I just wanted to get back to her. How come she directed the question only
Ladies.
to women? It's and that's also another challenge that we need to address, because the more we zero in on just women, we tend to forget the role men have to play in order to make it more accessible, more comfortable for women to come up both in the playing field and also in leadership positions.
Just to say that She Drives Sports will have an allies support program, so that it's not just about women, it's about also the men who are critical in making sure that women get into that space as well. Thank you.
The gentleman in front, the one supporting Kenyan ecosystem through Enda Sports, was it? You had a question?
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Great conversation, and thanks to Alliance for putting this on. My name is Boniface Mwali. Cynthia, I watched a talk you gave here at the University of Nairobi on sports diplomacy, which was very interesting. And my question is, in a way, related to that, in how sports can sort of enhance other sectors of the society. One of the most successful sports products I've come across in Kenya is the Safari Komlewa Marathon, which combines athletics, something Kenya is very well known for, and tourism, right? So I find that to be a very innovative way of experiencing sports. I don't know, could you speak to how those innovations or sort of combining the unique values that or the unique elements of Kenya in the sporting activities that we have can add value to sports? And I'm sure the rest of the panel would have something to contribute to that in the sense of, what are the innovative approaches that are emerging in the world of sports today, in how it's practiced and how the business of it applies.
Thank you. That's a great question. Well, sports diplomacy is very powerful. I think you can see France worked extremely hard to make sure that the Olympics, they fought so many countries to be able, not fought literally, as athletes we fight, but you get my drift. They put up a great fight to be able to host. Now, Paris is the most visited city in the world, as is. So you can imagine what Paris looks like now, right? But they used the power of Paris being the most iconic visited city in the world to be able to draw even more people into Paris and, live on that sustainably. Now, let me give another example. We've seen what Qatar has done with football and how they have positioned the Qatar Airways and, the Emirates, those countries, and what they've been able to do around sports and changing the image of that region and their countries through football, right? I know there are Arsenal fans here. If ever you look at Arsenal, the first thing you think about is what? Emirates, right? It's the first thing. But when you think about that, you don't realize the power from, when you're just doing your everyday work, you don't realize the power of how big sports diplomacy played in that role. We see Emirates working with Arsenal. We don't see the back-end meetings when there's an Arsenal game, the networks that are built, the business deals, all of that. There's a lot that goes on. Now, I'm privy to, I have with me a document of Saudi Arabia, their investment program for the next 10 years. All of a sudden, it seems as if Saudi Arabia is doing very well in sports, right? Not just football. Many of you might not know this, but the French government is actually working with the Saudi government to support women's program in sports. It's a good thing. So hopefully the French government will work with us on She Drives Sports. But there's a lot that can be done. We have the Safari Rally. The biggest, not just beneficiary, but those who go into the Safari Rally more than anyone. It's not the international guys, it is local. It's a very big local tourism platform. So the idea is looking at what are our strengths as a country, what is it that the consumer of this sport likes, and how do we merge the two? So from a sports diplomacy perspective, there's sports tourism, there's so much that can be able to happen. I'll give lastly an example of the US. We know America for what it is because of so many things, but they have used sports to really position that country, right? Whether it's athletics, even when America beat South Sudan, the story was of how great America is. Guys, this is South Sudan that nobody expected to beat them, but the story was about how big LeBron is and how big America is, and it was deliberate. How do we own those stories? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your answer. And maybe one last question from the gentleman in Manchester United shirt. We'll get to you.
Okay. My name is Hazaria Oma. I'm actually standing as a graduate of physical education and sports with French from the Kenyatta University. Thank you for that. My main question was the problem that you have already put across, like creating a good platform where you can connect to every youth. Dr. Doreen, who is dealing with the Kenya Academy, and then we have I'm still going to use Cynthia, because the problem came from you, because you're saying we need to create a platform. Starting with, my question was, how are you using the already existing platforms to spread out word? I had a chance to quickly go through your social medias, and unfortunately, none of your social media platforms has posted about this program today.
You have to check again.
Because I have.
When did you check?
I have checked on Twitter. I'm mostly using X and Instagram. Yes. So how are you using the existing platform? Looking for professionals throughout university. I have not seen. Throughout university, I have not seen talks about this to like in our like Kenyatta University, being one of the founders of PE throughout university since the foundation of like for example Connect Africa under 40. I have not seen any talks about it in our university since 2019 to yeah. And also like Kenya Academy of Sports, we have not like seen any organized programs in our university. I personally have not attended to any because, and I was a class rep for my year. So meaning, I was a class rep, so meaning any information would have passed through me so that I go out there and give it. Thank you.
So before your question is answered, I think it's clear that Dr. Doreen and Cynthia, you have a lot of work with the crowd. Because we're running out of time, your question will be answered in just 1 minute. So if you can summarize it in a few seconds, and Cynthia as well, and then you can have a moment directly one-to-one with the young gentleman. Thank you, Doreen.
Okay, thank you about that. Maybe mine maybe is to apologize that we've not done that. Eh? Maybe we are old school, but we have, what is it called? We have so many interns, even volunteers and attachees from KU. We normally consider them. So maybe what we've done wrong is we've not advertised for that. But when we get your, the applications on through our website, we normally call you, the attachees to come and work with us. We also open to people who are ready to come and volunteer because you never know. We had interns who came for the 1-year program to work with us, and we've retained them. So let me just say that we are open. We are now operating at low capacity. Yes, that is true. That's why maybe some of these things are happening. But now, since you know that what we are, the mandate of Kenya Academy of Sports, if you have finished, you've graduated and you're looking for opportunities, come and start volunteering with us. We are opening centers across the country. There are so many places that you can be placed. Thank you.
And Cynthia, in a short summary.
Very quickly. I brought it up. It's a challenge. I'm an entrepreneur. Fix it. There you go.
Thank you. And maybe one last question that's not directed to either Dr. Doreen or Cynthia. Starting with the gentleman. I've not forgotten about you.
First and foremost, I want to give you 2 ladies for just saying sorry, a gift. It's the right thing to do. When you're wrong, you ask for forgiveness. You don't give excuses. So
did you confirm the size?
Achana na size, bro. So I have 3 quick questions. One, I'm a former street boy. I champion mental health in men. It's called Check on a Man. Basically, when I lost my parents, I lived with an uncle who sexually molested me. I became a street boy for 5 years, and I championed mental health for men called Check on a Man. Maybe some of you know Man Cave on NTV. I'm the face behind Man Cave. I sold the rights to NTV. So what I'm doing is, apart from feeding and clothing street families, I've been able to school 4 street kids for the last 10 years. And I'll also kindly plea with you to donate clothes from toddlers to grown-up, drop them at NTV at the reception or at the shoe shiners. I feed them every Thursday at night and every Saturdays in the morning. So my question are, please don't clap. You've talked about abled people. These are people that have gone to school. These are people that live in houses, whatever place you are, single room, 10 bedroom, it's your house. But I have kids who are like me, who are like me right now, but I'm not there anymore. Yep. Who are in the streets, who have talents, who have not gone to school, because I've schooled myself to university level using house chores jobs and being a tout in Nairobi. And none of you in Kenya, I see you with the flag of Kenya in your hands, and none of you have tapped the talents in street families. None of you. In Kenyan government, local, whatever private, none of you have tapped talents in the street families. And this is where I can tell you, I won't mention the name, but some of the best footballers in slums in Dandora came from street. Yep. My second question is, we know that corruption is the mother of all destruction in Kenya right now. Yeah? What are you doing as football people or fraternity to help footballers grow beyond corruption? And the last question is, as I sit down because of time, most of our footballers, this is what is happening to them. Those who have made it in football, soccer, whatever talent they're playing. Most of them, when they get the money, they get to Europe or local clubs. You know, local clubs, there's a percentage of money that when they're earning, they are not like those ones living in slum. 100,000 for a footballer here means a lot. He can take care of his family or she can take care of her family. This is where the mental health comes in. Because when they are broke is when they come to national media platform, social media platform, to ask for sympathy. We changa for them money, and then we see them as useless. And some of us, that 100 shillings, like for me, a plate of food for a street families is 100 bob. You can buy some socks here for 100 bob, or a cape, 1,000. It's 100. Instead of we donating for someone who uses or her money uselessly and went to Dunda, kindly, what can you do to help them manage the finances? On the same question, what are you doing in terms of mental health in our athletes? Because some of them, issues that came from their background, either how they were brought, some of them were sexually molested like me, some of them on how they were brought up is what did a lot of their mindset. What are you doing in terms of mental health? Have you invested in counseling services for soccer players, all the female and male? And lastly, hii maneno ya sijui women are seeing less. Kindly, in this world, we have equal opportunities. Grab it, fight for it. Let us women up, like you say, man up.
Yeah. Thank you for your questions. I think the whole panel will be challenged on this, but I'd like to start with Julian and then on to Brian on the corruption case. Though it's a very unfair question because FIFA, it goes all the way, singling out Brian. But anyway, I'll let him defend himself. On to Julian. How do you respond?
Thank you, Brandon. So, Victor, thank you very much for raising those issues. What I can say for athletics about your first questions, we have been supporting street kids. We have been supporting child soldier. The most famous one is Julius Arile. I invite you to look at his life and the documentary that was made on his life and his career. We supported him quite well. He changed completely, became a champion. He was number 3 at the New York Marathon back in 2011 or 2012. It has been done. It's not known, but not known much, but it has been done. I don't know about other sports. In athletics, we need to share more. For example, among the 90 athletes that I manage, 95% of them are coming from families that are farmers, auto-productive farmers, very humble background. I have so many stories that I could share with you with their background that are terrible stories. It's not for today, but I can tell you that in athletics, it has been done, and we have changed some life, for sure.
And Brian on the corruption case?
Coming to football, first I'll speak for as Brian or as the Football Foundation for Africa. We haven't been able to reach that level of reaching out to street families yet. Maybe with time and resources, we will get to that point. But I've organized platforms, including tournaments and workshops, where everyone is invited. And part of what I do with my tournaments is conduct workshops which have included mental health aspects. Because I think this is very important, and you raise a very key issue in terms of how we develop our talents, how we develop our players. Because traditionally we only see, especially in football or footballers, as people, as commodity. We want to develop them to sell them abroad without taking care of their, their holistic development, their mental well-being, their education and all that, so that when they're out there, they're actually appreciated beyond their value on the football pitch. So this is something as the Football Foundation for Africa, we have taken it upon ourselves. I'm sure you've not heard of FFA, because when I was starting FFA, I'd also realized, having played here in Kenya, like our federations were not working for the betterment of players, or at least they did not have adequate resources to address some of the issues that you bring on board. So we need different platforms, we need more entrepreneurial skills or ventures in the sports industry so that we can be able to attract more investment, which can be used now to do the kind of work that you're talking about. So it's about how do we get more resources into the space to develop a more sustainable ecosystem. And when we talk about sustainability, it's not just about the environment, the social sustainability of things. I have seen these players that you're talking about, once they're done playing, they're back now begging, and this is something we said we should address. Even before they get to retirement, we should be investing in educating them for when they retire. So that is something we are doing as the Football Foundation for Africa. When it comes to corruption, it's a challenge in football, it's a challenge in sports, it's a challenge in Africa, it's a challenge globally. What I tell people, it starts with you. And if the majority of the people in an ecosystem decide to do the right thing, with time, we are going to be able to defeat corruption. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. And talking about corruption, you started by corrupting the two women in the room by giving them socks for saying thank you.
African culture says it's a gift. African culture. Globally, you bribed us.
And so,
it's a cultural conversation.
Over to you, Cynthia. You had something to say to the young man. So.
One, we are not asking to be given. We are going to take. When I stood for president, I didn't ask for it. And those who are in this room who know the story of me running for president, I can guarantee you it was not the easiest of experiences. But the reason why we're doing what we're doing with She Drives Sports is to make it easier for other women to say that I can stand too. Right? We don't want to be given. That I can tell you. Again, we go back to this thing around information not being shared. This is the first time that this is happening, even at Alliance Française. So we have a long, 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 long way to go in terms of sports and sports information and sports. You know, there's a lot. What we are asking you in this room is to be part of the solution. We are here, we've been here for a while, talk to us. Let's find out what we can do with you or what you can do and start doing in your platform, in your space, to be able to create something different through sports, right? So it's not just those of us who are here. The ones who are in this table, on this table now, I can guarantee you took heavy risks, right? We fought systems that have told us you do not belong in this room, you do not belong in this space. So my challenge to all of you in this room, you're young, you're amazing. What is it that you can do? Because the solution is not going to be from us, it's going to come from each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Unfortunately, we are out of time. Okay, summarize your question and direct it to one person in particular so we get a quick response.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. First, I like the conversation. I'm happy that it's already happening. To appreciate the work that you do. I know it is not easy, yeah, so that is a good job you're doing. We're talking about DE. Okay, my name is Michelle. I'm a sports enthusiast. I play basketball. I actually still play competitively, so that's a big thing for me, but hey. We're talking about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? And persons with disability is part of that group. So my question is, what are you doing to incorporate and to have these people in your programs? Because I don't get to hear much about that. So if I can just get a bit of insight on that.
Thank you for that question. So we'll conclude with each one giving the final remarks and answering to her question, and then I think we can call it an evening. So Brian, and also talk about what else people should expect from you. So what events are coming up or initiatives that you're running that the crowd should watch out for. So over to you, Brian.
So in terms of DEI, at the Football Foundation for Africa, we are open platform and we try to encourage participation from everybody. We have an initiative called Africa Football for Development Network, and some of our members are amputee football teams from as far out as Liberia. And when we organize capacity building sessions, we have done this online for now, primarily a resource issue. We involve them as well. So this is a way of reaching out to them and assuring them that they have the same access to other able-bodied, if we can say, people. So that's what the Football Foundation for Africa has done in this field. But we could always do more, and we are ready to do more. As a parting shot, mine is to encourage especially the young people in the room to look at the opportunities in sports and what they can do. Africa is lagging when it comes to developing the economy of sports, and it needs young, passionate people with the time. But it's not easy, and I usually say we have to be ambitious, we have to be committed, and lastly, we have to be patient. It's not going to happen tomorrow for Africa sports. This is something that we are going to do for the next 10, 20 years. And again, thank you very much, Alliance, Sport, for this session. And I make an invitation as well. In October of this year, we are organizing the 3rd Africa Football Business Summit, which will be happening here in Nairobi. You're welcome to attend. Happy to share more information as we discuss and get ready to watch the opening ceremony of the Olympics. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian. Dr. Doreen.
Okay, thank you. At the Kenya Academy of Sports, we try very much, although we have limited funds, to also consider people with different challenges. And in every activity, if it is coaching, we give some courses for the, people with disabilities. Even in organizing sports events, we also try and at least give some allocations for people with disabilities. On the programs that we'll be having, like last year we had the Talanta Hela, that was basically in football. This year we're going to bring in basketball and volleyball and continue with football. But we'll be, the people who are eligible to participate in that is under 19s. So the problem that we have that we've always encountered is the age cheating. That is a common problem, and it's the one that is really giving a bad name in sports. So there'll be a lot of opportunities for you when we start it. Just look at our website, and we are inviting volunteers to come and work with us. On future sports programs, on how we want to work, I believe that we should work together. We need to collaborate. It's not only the work of government to promote and develop sports. We need other stakeholders to also help us in developing sports. Parents also play a key role in development of sports for their children. So if parents can also come and involve themselves, if you have siblings also playing sports, please support them.
Thank you for that. Cynthia and Julian, you have to really summarize it in a few minutes.
Michelle knows what I do, so for the benefit of everyone else in the room, there is definitely a challenge around DEI. And I would be very honest, we've not currently done anything around that, so it's a good challenge that you have given us as Sports Connect Africa. One of the things that we will consider as a business as we move around with the work that we do is to incorporate 1 or 2 or 3, whether it's an intern or an employee, to work with us who comes from the DEI space. We yesterday just launched Bingwa Fest, so I don't know if any of you have seen that, but it is the biggest tournament in East and Central Africa, multi-sport. It's not as big as Talanta Hela at the lower level. It is for everyone in the community. So if you play basketball, if you play football, if you play rugby, if you play athletics, go into your local space, find out, what's coming. What I can tell you is there's 120 million shillings to be won between now and the end of the year at the regional spaces. So we're going to play in 7 regions, and we will have a final based on all those guys. And we are asking you to come not just as athletes, but also as fans, because we want to build a fan base for our sport. So we'd be very, very happy. The first one is happening in Mumias, 8th to 10th of August. So happy to share more information on that.
Thank you. And finally, Julian.
Thank you for your question. From my point of view, there is a gap that's clear. It's huge, and it's getting a bit narrow because, for example, this year, it's not the Olympic Games. It's the 2024 Olympic and Paralympic Games. I think we are going in the right direction. In terms of private sector, it is true that there is very few Paralympic athletes who are sponsored by corporate. We invite our bosses and our colleagues to try to go on the way to sponsor them. Some national teams are starting to get sponsorship. That's one step. Let's continue. I have heard last month Wesley Courier was here talking about his academy and Transcend, and that there will be scholarship given to DEI students. So I think we are going in the right direction, and we should continue in this way. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think we can give a round of applause to the panelists. And so thank you to Allianz for organizing this, for enabling us to have this venue, and also for allowing you time for the questions. I think we should be thankful for the extra time given. We can give a clap to Hasita and Charles. Thank you. A special thank you to Cynthia, who organized this Sciences Po debate, and I think she has a final remark to give. And to all of you, I think you should also appreciate yourselves for being here and for your questions as well. Thank you.
Briefly in 2 minutes, because I think we have to go. So my name is Cynthia Isimbi, and I am the representative of Sciences Po. So as you know, Sciences Po is one of the leading universities in social sciences. I liked what they said about different topics, that there are job opportunities in marketing, being doctors for sports. Just know that as Sciences Po, we also have scholarship for African students to come and study at Sciences Po. On the master's level, we have a full scholarship opportunity. And one of our alumni is right there. So that's what I wanted to say. And let's give him a hand of applause. Thank you so much for coming. And if you need more information about Sciences Po, feel free to come and see me. As they said, we have to collaborate. We have to share information. Sciences Po is not the only partner of the MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program. There's also USIU. There are other universities, and I'm happy to share more information about that. Thank you.
Merci. Merci beaucoup. I think it was really interesting. So now we are going to begin a fantastic evening. Well, to follow with a fantastic evening. We are on time. Paris will screen from 8:30. At the same moment, we'll have a cocktail offered by Carrefour. We'll have also our partner Decathlon showing some sport performance and demos. What are they? Decathlon, are you in the room? Decathlon is French, do you know that? Okay, so our partners are ready to show some activities right now, I think. We'll have also many VIPs, including the French ambassador who is here to give us a speech in a few minutes. We'll have fantastic wine from France, we'll have mandazi from Kenya, we'll have many, many things coming. And after, around, let me say, around 9 p.m., the cocktail will be finished, but the bar will be cash bar for the whole evening, and also you have French pâté by Beret. So it will be a fantastic evening, I'm sure. Very nice atmosphere, very good ambience. Now, before concluding, I would like to give the microphone to my dear colleague Arcita, because we have many surprises coming in the next day, including tomorrow a very big event of break dance. I'm going to participate as a guest, as a main guest. Thank you. And Arcita will be my co-participant. Arcita, do you want us to say a word?
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, the panelists, the moderators, Sciences Po, for putting this all together. We just wanted to share with you what's coming up at the Alliance Française in the next 2 weeks during the Village Olympique. So tomorrow we got a breaking competition with some of the best break dancers in Nairobi. As you know, breaking is making its debut at the Paris Olympics this year. So we want to support the breaking community who've been around for a long time. And so please do come and join them tomorrow and cheer them on as they battle it out tomorrow afternoon here at the Alliance Française. Next week on Monday and Wednesday we've got film screenings. So we're showing films from Arnaud Champion. So that's a film about 4 differently abled sportsmen and women taking us through their journey to get ready for the Paris Olympics. On Wednesday we'll be showing another film which talks about the difference sports has made to people's lives around the world. And on Monday, the 5th of August, with the Agnes Tirop Foundation, we'll be screening the Bloomberg film Run for Your Life, followed by a discussion, Red Card to Gender-Based Violence. I hope you'll all join us on the 5th of August as well. On Saturday, the 3rd of August, we have Kijiji Esports Day here at the Alliance Française. So we got all the gamers coming out to show their skills at FIFA, Tekken, and Just Dance. So you're all welcome on Saturday, the 3rd of August. Cynthia referred to Saudi Arabia and how they are using sports to change the image of Saudi Arabia. Well, Saudi Arabia will be holding the first Olympics esports games in 2025. And so we want our Kenyan esports men and women to be represented in Saudi Arabia. And then on the 10th of August, we have a volleyball exhibition match and competition here with the Githurai 45 Volleyball Academy. So you're all welcome to come and join them and cheer them here on Saturday the 10th. So we hope to see you here throughout the next 2 weeks. As you know, we've got the giant screen. We'll be screening live streaming Olympics games from Paris on the giant screens on a daily basis. And we've also got different sporting activities thanks to Decathlon that will be here for people to enjoy during the day as they watch the games. Thank you very much and hope to see you here in the next 2 weeks.
You can see she does not need notes. Now, I just want to add one thing. 2 things actually. I would like to pay a special tribute to my colleague Julien because believe it or not, we are creating a new independent Alliance Française in Eldoret and Julien is on charge of that, so I'm very happy of him. He's not only a specialist of sport, he want to make an alliance also. Second thing, we have during these Olympic Games a new stand at the library. You will see on the ground floor, we'll have a stand for library. We bought dozens of new books about Olympism, about sport, everything in French, but it's very interesting even for children. So we have these new books available. And great news, this is because we are completely transforming the library of the first floor. In 2 months, you will see something completely new with the first virtual museum in Kenya, with screens everywhere, with new books. It will be really wonderful. So you will be there, I'm sure. Merci encore. It has been a very, very interesting debate. And now, welcome to France. We are going to be in Paris in a few minutes. Go out. We open the cocktail now. Everything is for free during 30 minutes. Merci. Asante sana.